8 things I did to stop wasting my evenings after work. It's ironic, right? Most of us spend the day dreaming about free time, only for the evening to arrive, and suddenly, we find ourselves wasting it. You may know what I'm talking about. Scrolling aimlessly, watching random videos, or just sitting there, feeling too tired to do anything meaningful. I get it. I've been there too, and honestly, I was worse. My evenings were a blur of exhaustion and missed opportunities, but then something changed, and my after-work hours transformed. Before you think, oh great, more impossible habits, take a moment. What I'm sharing today isn't another list of rigid rules. These are simple, actionable strategies that work with your natural energy, not against it. I've seen them work for me and countless others. These aren't about perfection, but about progress. Simple steps that help turn your evenings into time for growth, not just recovery. So, grab a pen and paper because in the next few minutes, we're diving into 8 powerful systems that, when combined, can help you reclaim your evenings. From energy management to practical habits to digital wellness and psychological techniques, everything you need to make your evenings the best part of your day. Let's get started. Chapter 1. Structure and Energy Management. The way you spend your evenings impacts your whole life. Many people get this wrong by focusing on time management. But here's the truth. What you really need is energy management. Your evening isn't just a chunk of free time. It's about your energy levels and mental state. It's about being able to enjoy your time after work. One thing that made a huge difference for me was the shutdown ritual. After finishing work, I stand up, take 3 deep breaths, and physically close my laptop. It sounds simple, but it's a psychological trigger that tells your brain, work is done. Another thing I implemented was the 90-minute evening block system. Your brain naturally works in 90-minute cycles, so instead of seeing your evening as one big chunk of time, I break it into what I call power blocks. Block 1, recovery. This is your time to decompress. No decisions, no planning. Just rest. Block 2. Growth. This is when your energy starts to rise. Whether it's learning something new, getting some movement in, or working on a hobby, this is your time to grow. Block 3. Connection. By this point, your energy is balanced, making it the perfect time for quality interactions with family or friends. One crucial tip: reverse scheduling. Most people plan their day from morning to night, but I started planning my evening first. Start with when you want to sleep, then structure your evening backward from there. Chapter 2. Digital Wellness. In today's world, digital distractions are everywhere. Your phone, laptop, and other devices are like energy vampires. They quietly drain your evening potential. It's time to fight back. One method I call app mortality. Every evening, I delete one app from my phone. It sounds strange, but most of the time, I don't even remember which app I deleted, and this simple action helps minimize distractions. Then there's the analog hour. About 1 hour before bed, I make my devices go to sleep before I do. The key here is not just turning them off, but actually putting them in a different room. This creates a sanctuary of peace in your bedroom. I also practice screen life separation tactics. For instance, I keep my phone charger in the kitchen and my laptop in a drawer, which builds a small fortress around my evening peace. Chapter 3. Psychological Techniques. Now, let's talk about something just as important as managing your devices: managing your mind. The brain plays a big role in how we experience our evenings. One insight that shifted my perspective was understanding the concept of digital sunset protocols. Essentially, your brain doesn't differentiate between digital light and sunlight. If you're staring at screens late into the night, your brain thinks it's still high noon. To fix this, I created a sanctuary space where the transition from work mode to relaxation happens. Another game changer for me was future self-journaling. Every evening I write a letter to my morning self, not with a list of tasks, but focusing on how I want to feel tomorrow. This helps prime my brain to work towards those feelings. Lastly, the evening energy debt mindset. Most people see their evening as borrowed time from tomorrow, but I shifted my mindset to see it as an investment in my energy for the next day. The more I rest and recharge, the better I'll perform tomorrow. Chapter 4. Mindfulness and Emotional Intelligence. Your emotions are signals that guide you. They're not obstacles, they're messages. So when managing your evening, mindfulness plays a huge role. I started incorporating micro-meditation moments throughout the evening. For example, when I make tea, I take a moment to feel the warmth of the cup. These tiny moments help reset my mind. I also practice an evening awareness protocol. Every hour, I take 10 seconds to name my current emotion. This simple act reduces emotional overwhelm and helps me stay grounded. Chapter 5. Social Strategies. Social energy is just as important as physical energy. Your social battery works like your phone battery, so knowing how much energy you have left is key. I developed the Social Battery Management System, which helps me decide which social interactions to prioritize. Not every conversation will recharge you, so I focus on maintaining deep connections rather than trying to keep up with everyone. To avoid energy drains, I also did an energy vampire audit. I started noticing which social interactions left me feeling energized and which ones drained me. Chapter 6. Creative Habit Formation. Creating new habits doesn't have to be overwhelming or complicated. It's not about trying to change everything at once or forcing yourself into a rigid schedule. Instead, I focus on stacking small, simple habits throughout my day, making them so effortless that they become second nature. This is what I call micro-habit stacking, breaking down larger goals into bite-sized actions that flow seamlessly into my daily routine. For example, I used to think I had to commit to a long evening workout or spend hours learning a new skill. But I realized that small, consistent actions could be just as effective. Now, after I get home from work, I'll hang up my keys, take off my shoes, and change clothes, all in less than 30 seconds. It's a simple ritual, but it signals to my brain that I'm transitioning from work mode to personal time. This tiny action immediately puts me in the right mindset for whatever comes next, and it helps avoid the all-too-familiar feeling of just flopping down on the couch and doing nothing. Another tactic I embraced was the wheel of activities. Instead of forcing myself to stick to one hobby, I created a rotating system. This involves 4 different activities: reading, drawing, listening to music, and doing something creative like crafts. And I rotate between them depending on my mood and energy levels. This strategy helps me avoid burnout, keep things fresh, and tap into different types of creativity. If I'm feeling inspired, I'll dive into drawing or crafting, but if I'm feeling more reflective, I might pick up a book or listen to music. This variety ensures that I stay engaged and excited to spend time in my evenings, without getting bored or stuck in a repetitive loop. What I've learned from this approach is that habit formation isn't about being rigid or creating a monotonous routine. It's about creating small, enjoyable rituals that naturally flow from one to the next. Over time, these micro-habits build momentum and help create a consistent routine without ever feeling like a chore. When you approach habits this way, they feel like an organic part of your lifestyle rather than something you have to force yourself to do. Chapter 7. Physical and Cognitive Optimization. To keep my evenings productive and fulfilling, I focus on both cognitive and physical optimization. Whether it's doing some light stretching, reading a book, or listening to an inspiring podcast, I make sure to nourish both my mind and body. Chapter 8. The Power of Reflection. Lastly, I embrace the power of reflection as a key part of my routine. Each night before bed, I ask myself 3 simple but impactful questions. What energized me today? What drained me? What surprised me? These questions help me take a step back and reflect on my day, giving me a clearer understanding of my emotional and mental state. By identifying what brought me energy or made me feel drained, I can better plan for the next day and focus on the activities that will help me maintain balance. This simple reflection process has become a powerful tool in helping me tune into my emotional rhythms. It allows me to gain valuable insights into my day-to-day experiences, empowering me to make better choices moving forward. Whether it's identifying moments of joy or acknowledging challenges, this nightly routine of self-awareness has helped me grow and improve my decision-making, creating a clearer path for the next day. Incorporating these 8 things into my evenings has made a world of difference. It's not about rigid rules or perfect habits. It's about finding what works for you and creating a routine that nurtures your mind, body, and soul. Start small and see how your evenings and your life can transform.